everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be talking about something that's been getting a lot of attention in the personal finance world lately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's called the cash envelope system for budgeting.
Interesting.
So, we've got some excerpts here from an article called Cash Envelope System for Budgeting. Does it work?
Yeah.
And I'm really curious, like, is this just a throwback? Like something our grandparents used to do? Or is this something that could actually be, kind of a genius hack for us in the digital age? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, it's funny you should say that because it is kind of like this old-fashioned approach.
Right.
But you know what? It's really making a comeback.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So basically, the cash envelope system, it's all about actually physically dividing your cash into, different envelopes.
Yeah.
And each envelope is for a certain spending category. So, like groceries or going out entertainment or, even online shopping, whatever your weakness is.
Oh, so like you're giving like each part of your budget its own little home. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You're making it visual. You're making it tangible. It's all about being able to see and feel how much you're spending. The goal is that once the cash in that envelope is gone, well, that's it. You're done spending in that category until the next time you get paid or whatever your budget cycle is.
Oh, wow.
And it really forces you to think about, think before you spend. And, actually, this method has been around for a while. It was made popular by Dave Ramsey, the financial guru.
Oh, wow. So this has been tested and proven over time then.
It really has. And it's still going strong. So it's got to say something, right?
Yeah, that's really fascinating. Okay, so walk me through this. How does it work in real life?
Sure. Okay, so first things first, you got to figure out what you regularly spend money on,
Yeah.
right? What are your budget categories? List everything. Groceries, going out to eat, gas, clothes, personal care, all that.
So it's kind of like making a map, a personalized spending map of where your money goes. Exactly. You got it. It's all about getting really clear on where your money's going. And then once you have that map, you need to decide, okay, for each of these categories, what's my limit? How much am I actually okay with spending in each area? This is where you got to be honest with yourself. If you tend to overspend on takeout, well, this is where you draw that line in the sand and say, okay, this is it. This is my limit.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just like you go to the restaurant and order whatever you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're basically having a conversation with yourself about your spending habits, but you're having before you even get to the store or the restaurant.
Yeah, that's a good point. Being preemptive about it. I like that.
Okay. So once you've got your categories and your spending limits figured out, then it's time for the fun part. It's ATM time. You got to withdraw the cash you'll need for each category, and then you fill up those envelopes. I always picture this stack of colorful envelopes, each one labeled with its purpose.
Ooh, that's a good visual. Yeah, like little treasure chests for your different spending categories.
I love that. And, this is where the real test of your discipline comes in, because from now on, you're only spending from that designated envelope. If you're heading to the grocery store, you grab your grocery envelope. Going out to the movies, you take your entertainment envelope. You get the idea.
I see. So it's like really forcing you to be present and mindful in those moments where you're about to spend money. No more just, absent-mindedly swiping that credit card and hoping for the best.
You got it. And then
Yeah.
at the end of the month, you get to decide what to do with any leftover cash in those envelopes. Do you roll it over into the next month? Maybe treat yourself to a little something special? Or maybe you add it to your savings. You've earned it.
It's like a little bonus for staying on track. So now that we kind of understand the nuts and bolts of the cash envelope system, let's talk about why people actually like it. What's the magic behind these little envelopes?
Well, I think there are a couple of things that really make this system effective. For starters, it's that visual control we talked about. Seeing and feeling that cash dwindle down in each envelope, it's a real psychological deterrent. I mean, there's actually research from MIT that shows that people are way more hesitant to spend physical cash compared to just swiping a card or using their phone to pay.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I think there's something about actually handing over those bills that feels way more real.
Right. You're physically parting with your money.
Yeah. And swiping a card is almost like, it doesn't feel as impactful.
It's almost like it's not even real money.
Yeah.
And so using cash envelopes, it just forces you to be really present in those spending decisions.
I feel like I need this in my life.
Right. And the other thing is, it's just so simple. In a world of fancy budgeting apps and spreadsheets, this is refreshingly low tech. No apps to download, no software to figure out, just you, some envelopes, and some cash.
That's so appealing, actually, especially in a world where everything is so digital. But okay, let's be real. How practical is this actually in our modern cashless society? Like, can you really buy everything with cash these days?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. We are moving more and more towards a cashless society. Like even, I remember the last time I actually used cash, it was,
Oh, yeah.
I can't even remember. But there was this CNBC report recently, and it said something like over 70% of people actually prefer to pay without using cash.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's a big hurdle right there, for the cash envelope system. And then there's the whole question of like, what about those things you can't really pay for with cash? Like paying your bills online or
Yeah.
those kinds of things.
Yeah, you're not going to walk into your landlord's office with an envelope full of cash.
Exactly. And let's not forget about security. Like carrying around a bunch of cash, that could be a little risky.
Oh, yeah, true.
What if you lose it or it's someone.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. It's like you don't want to be walking around with your whole grocery budget, just in your pocket.
Exactly. It's something to be mindful of for sure. And, I think it's also important to realize that the cash envelope system, it really works best for certain types of expenses, like those that are variable.
Oh, okay.
The ones where you have some flexibility, like groceries or, eating out entertainment, that kind of thing.
So not so much for like the big bills that are the same every month.
Right, like rent or your car payment or those utilities.
Right.
For those, it probably makes more sense to just, stick with like automatic payments or paying online. It's just easier and probably safer.
Yeah, so it sounds like maybe the best way to go is like a hybrid approach. Use cash envelopes for those areas where you're really trying to be more mindful and maybe curb some impulse purchases.
Exactly.
And then for the rest, just stick with the digital stuff.
That's a great strategy. It's about finding what works for you. And the other thing to consider is that sometimes life just throws you a curveball.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
You have an unexpected expense pop up.
It's like they know when you're trying to budget and they just appear.
Right. Like your car breaks down or,
Wow.
Something happens. And that can be tough to handle if you've already like allocated all your cash into those envelopes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's smart to kind of build in some flexibility to your system, like maybe having a buffer category.
Oh, like a little emergency fund.
Exactly. A little cushion just in case.
Yeah.
So you're not completely thrown off track if something unexpected comes up.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So it sounds like the cash envelope system can be a great tool, but it's not necessarily for everyone. Would you say it depends a lot on like someone's financial personality,
hmm
and their spending habits?
Oh, absolutely. Like with any budgeting system, the key is to find what works for you. For some people, especially those who really struggle with overspending, especially if they're, using credit cards, the cash envelope system can be really powerful. Remember that research we talked about from the Journal of Consumer Research?
Oh, yeah.
It said that people tend to spend like 15–20% less when they're using cash.
Wow.
Yeah. They call it the pain of payment.
Yeah.
Like when you actually physically hand over that cash, you feel it more.
Yeah, it's real.
And that can help you think twice before you, buy that extra thing you don't really need. And it's also really great for people who are, more visual learners.
Oh, okay.
Like they need to actually see and touch things to really grasp them.
Oh, yeah, like people who take notes or draw diagrams when they're learning something new.
Exactly. And that's what the cash envelope system does for your money. It makes it real and concrete. You can see it. You can feel it. It's not just, numbers on a screen.
I love that. It's like budgeting for people who like to get their hands dirty.
Yes, exactly. And, at the end of the day, what this system really does is it helps you take control of those areas where you tend to overspend.
Right.
Like the discretionary stuff.
Oh, yeah, the fun stuff, but also the dangerous stuff.
Exactly. Like eating out, entertainment, shopping, those impulse buys,
Oh, okay. So if you're the kind of person who's always blowing their budget on takeout and lattes, this could be the answer.
It could be. But even though we've been talking about the challenges of using cash in our increasingly cashless world, it's not like you're stuck in the Stone Age with this method.
Oh, okay. So there are some modern updates.
You got it.
Ah.
There are ways to kind of adapt those core principles, for a more digital world. Think of it like Cash Envelopes 2.0.
I like it. So like what are some of those updates?
Well, for example, there are budgeting apps now that basically mimic the cash envelope system,
Oh.
but they do it digitally. Like one example is this app called Good Budget. And what it does is it lets you create like virtual envelopes for all your spending categories.
Oh, that's cool. So you still get that visual, but without having to carry around all the cash.
Exactly. And you can track your spending in real time. It's super convenient. And another option is to use separate bank accounts for different categories.
Yeah.
Like you could have one checking account specifically for groceries, another for entertainment, and so on.
Oh, that's smart. It's like creating those compartments, but digitally.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about finding what clicks for you, what fits your lifestyle and your comfort level with technology.
Yeah, it's so cool that there's so many options now. It just reinforces that, there's no one right way to budget.
I agree.
Yeah.
Personal finance is personal. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
about finding what helps you feel empowered and in control of your money.
It's amazing how many different approaches there are to managing money, and I think that's a good thing. But anyway, we've talked a lot about the cash envelope system, how it works, the good, the bad, even some modern twists on it. But before we go, I want to leave you with something to really think about.
I'm always up for a little brain teaser.
Okay, so imagine you could design like your perfect money management system. What would you take from the cash envelope method and what would you, I don't know, maybe change or adapt?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, I'd say first you got to be honest with yourself. Like, what actually works for you? Like, do you love that visual aspect of the envelopes, but maybe you're more of a digital person? Or maybe you'd throw in like a reward system for staying on track. Or, I don't know, like some kind of like safety net for those unexpected expenses. There's really no right or wrong answer. It's all about finding what clicks for you.
It's all about, figuring out what empowers you to make those, smart choices about your money and ultimately, reach those financial goals, whatever they may be. But hey, we want to hear from you. Head over to our social media pages and tell us all about like your dream money management system. Let's keep this conversation going.
Yeah, and remember, managing your money, it's a journey.
It really is.
Keep learning, keep trying new things, and you'll find what works for you. And hey, who knows? Maybe you'll come up with something even better than cash envelopes.
You never know. Until next time, happy budgeting, everyone.